Good afternoon, my friends. This is going to be an open letter to Mikheil Saakashvili, the former president of Georgia, Georgia, and now the head of the Executive Reform Committee in the nation of Ukraine. Mikheil Saakashvili, it is good to speak with you. I'm hoping you are hearing this petition. I am contacting you now on the issue of human rights in Ukraine. You might remember that you and I met before in Batumi, Georgia, at the Ferris wheel, and we were down there with my good friend Gennady Romanadze, and both members of the parliament and the mayor of Kubeleti, and you appeared with the president of Armenia. And we had discussed human rights in Georgia fairly extensively before the arrival of President George Bush, who spoke in Freedom Square there in Tbilisi, and called out that the Georgians were prepared to stand up for their God-given rights. So, Mikheil, I'm writing you this letter because of our friend Yaroslav Missyak, who is a Christian youth pastor who we believe was wrongfully convicted in Ukraine on the strength of a coerced confession and who has been in prison for over 20 years now. We're writing you because we're approaching you in order to ask Ukraine to institute systemic reforms to provide for human rights at an international level. Just as human rights were secured in Georgia, and I do mourn the loss of Georgia with you. I saw your statement today reflecting to the world that we've lost Georgia as a nation of human rights. You might recall that we performed worship songs and praise songs at the Vladiani Museum in Tbilisi for the first time in public in 2004, and that we walked the streets of Rustaveli, and that you even instituted some reforms in the city of Hulo that included removing that crazy tram. But I want to speak to you now about what's happening in Ukraine, that we can talk about the idea of a systemic reform at the highest levels of Ukraine to allow for a personal restraint petition to be heard in the highest court, where people who were wrongfully convicted, particularly of capital crimes, might raise their issues before the court to say, I was convicted on the basis of a coerced confession. The coerced confession should be excluded from any kind of jurisprudence, and I have the right to a fair trial, to be tried again on the strength of the evidence. And it is our petition on behalf of Yaroslav Missyak and others similarly situated in Ukrainian jails that this would be the case. I know you as an international human rights lawyer and someone who is well acquainted with jurisprudence in the United States and who has been a strong supporter of human rights and the progress towards Western democracy in Ukraine, that you would hear this petition. So I'm raising it to you now as a friend. And so let us consider this together, and let us work forward together on this, okay? We would be happy to see you on the West Coast of the United States to discuss this with you in person, if you should so desire to come out. You know, the Slavic community here is quite large, and you would be very well received. Okay, so thank you so much. Спасибо большое, мой друг, and we will talk to you again later. All right, thank you.